Hello, and welcome to our webinar, LNS Research Reveals Leading the Quality Excellence Transformation. We have something truly valuable to share with you today, findings from LNS Research's comprehensive 2025 Enterprise Quality Management Software Study. This is a very rigorous and data-driven analysis of the EQMS market, and the insights are essential for quality leaders in life sciences. Before we get started, let's cover a few housekeeping items. If you need any assistance during today's broadcast, there is a chat function at the bottom of your screen. Send us a message there, and we will work to resolve any issues. There's also a Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. You can use that to ask questions, and we will have some dedicated time for Q&A at the end of this webinar. I have two wonderful co-presenters here with me today, including James from LNS and Matt, our Chief Strategy Officer, to help us walk through this research. And I'm going to have our co-hosts go ahead and introduce themselves now.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is James Wells. I'm a research director and senior analyst with LNS Research. I cover the quality space. I also cover operational excellence and organizational change management. I'm excited to be here to talk about this comprehensive study that we conducted and delivered last year. So thank you.
Thank you, James. My name is Matt Lowe. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at MasterControl. Have worked with James for a number of years now, so this is a good opportunity to share a webinar together, and Jess and I work closely together here at MasterControl.
And as I mentioned, I'm Jessica Madsen. I'm our Senior Product Marketing Manager over our quality solutions, and I'm excited to get us kicked off today. So LNS is the premier advisory and research organization focused on industrial transformation for operations and technology leaders. They provide independent, data-driven analysis that manufacturers and life science companies worldwide trust for strategic technology decisions. Their 2025 EQMS study represents months of research, evaluates 16 leading vendors across the globe in this industry. And now I will turn it over to James to take us through that research methodology and the unique perspective on the space and some strategic recommendations. Take it away, James.
Thank you, Jessica. Before I dive into the research, I'd like to do a little introduction on LNS. So we are, as Jessica so aptly said in her introduction to me, we are a research and advisory firm for industrial manufacturers. We are on a mission to empower industry leaders to transform their organizations in terms of their performance. And our vision is a world where industrial companies are agile, autonomous, and sustainable. We advise some of the world's largest manufacturing companies across several different industry sectors on these items. And a little bit, next slide, please, Jessica. So a little bit about the SSM product before I dive into the methodology. We have solution selection matrix, products which are exhaustively researched products that are targeted primarily at manufacturing buyers. So the purchasers of an EQMS software are the target audience for a solution selection matrix. We have SSMs across a number of different areas. So we have enterprise quality management software, which we're here to talk about today, MES, analytics, AI, data platforms, and connected frontline worker solution selection matrices. As I mentioned, these are an exhaustive study that is comprised of a rigorous survey that the vendors that participate in the research take to inform us of their some of the details and particulars of their product and their business. They then give us a briefing and a product demo of their product. And then finally, we round out the perspective with customer references. So folks who use the product get a voice in our solution selection matrix process as well. And so that's the backstory. The 3P evaluation method is really the detailed way that we assess vendors against the criteria. And so I'm going to go into that next. So next page, please. So we first start with products. So we're looking at product capabilities across these 11 dimensions that you see here on the page. We're really looking for functional capabilities and platform technology features that differentiate the product from others in the space. On to the next page, please, which is potential. So this is really, potential is really about the company and whether or not the company is positioned for growth and leadership within the space, including the company trajectory, the investments, the investment backing, and then innovation roadmap. So is the product and service that's provided by the company future-proof? In other words, will there be future developments that make this solution sticky within the market? So then the next P is presence, and this is really prevalence in the market. And we study the prevalence of the particular software package across geographies, across industries, customer sizes, small, medium, and large enterprises, and then support, capability to serve, proven success, and then, of course, those customer references that I talked about. So this is a very rigorous evaluation process that we put 16 vendors through. In the case of the enterprise quality management software, SSM, there are 16 vendors that are evaluated in that product. The number varies depending on the product. We have some that have fewer, some that have a little bit more. But we follow this methodology regardless of the software category. Next page, please. So what we've developed and what I want to talk about here today is really a perspective about the quality management software space and the industry, industry's response and appetite for enterprise quality management software. So next page, please. So the big headline is that in 2022, enterprise quality management software penetrated through 30% adoption, and actually we did a refresh of our IX Tech research last year. I led that research, and adoption of enterprise quality management software in that 2024 research was 34%. So we've continued to accelerate adoption over the successive years that we've looked at the adoption of enterprise quality management software. The interesting thing is that if we look at the categories of fully implemented and then add on the piloting category, so these are companies that either have a enterprise quality management software or are in the final selection process, that number exceeds 60% in the market. As an interesting counterpoint, the number that have reported that they have no plans for enterprise quality management software has dropped precipitously since 2016. It is now 4 times lower than it was in 2016 and down into the single digits at 9%. So the number of companies that have no plans or no view to adopt an enterprise quality management software has dropped precipitously, and that's good news for EQMS vendors and for chief quality officers as well. Next page, please. So let's talk a little bit about the market. There really is a bifurcation of capabilities across the software space, and it's really represented in this image. And the The one area is we call quality process automation. So it's essentially how to manage those core processes around document management and audit and nonconformance handling and those typical core quality processes associated with a registered quality system, and how to orchestrate those processes within the envelope of an EQMS is typically what we see in what we call that quality process automation space. This space typically includes a group of vendors that go to market as locked out-of-box platforms. So in other words, these solutions are fixed as designed by the software provider and have less flexibility to adapt to the unique processes of a company. They are a out-of-box sort of use it as is kind of approach. So that's a group that is represented in that quality process automation, and they typically represent small to medium-sized business that are targeted at small to medium-sized businesses. On the other hand, you have the embedded quality enabling capability, which is really a mix of solutions that are event-driven. So if we think about the really enterprise quality management software is either an event software, so a document needs revision, a training needs to be done, a nonconformance occurs, a corrective or preventive action needs to be processed. Those are all events. And so document-based events is the legacy and the foundation of enterprise quality management software. And many are still at that event coordination and orchestration capable level. However, there are some that have started to adopt a data-driven application approach with across application orchestration capabilities, data ingestion from IIoT devices and shop floor devices and equipment and other companion applications across the architecture. And then finally, more advanced machine learning, AI, and advanced analytics in the service of predictive quality. And so there's sort of this bifurcation of capabilities within the enterprise quality management space, and there's an interesting trend going on that I will talk about around this bifurcation and how the messy middle is where the battleground seems to be for these two groups of vendors. Next page, please. So this analytics as a core enabler represents the single biggest difference that we see across the landscape. It aligns to a theme that we talk about in the quality research around delivered quality. So delivered quality is the quality that a customer experiences with the product and the service that's associated with the company's offering. And so analytics is a core piece of those leaders who are focused on applying predictive quality modeling to guard the factory door, reduce escapes and recall risk, which have been an escalating concern. In fact, recalls as of 2024 data, it's too early yet to have 2025 data, but as of 2024, recalls and escapes were the highest they've ever been in the U.S. market since 2019. And they're up nearly 50% since 2019. And so the risk is significant, and leaders are turning to analytics to help them guard the factory door and prevent escapes and reputation impact as a result of recalls and product quality failures in the field. Next page. So some interesting trends there. Now I'll move on to this final segment around findings and strategic recommendations. So next page. So a lot of things to say here. The market is mature and pretty stable right now. We went through a wave of acquisitions of EQMS software providers coming out of the COVID era. There was a wave of acquisitions, typically by hardware companies. And those have had mixed that were going on 4 years since those acquisitions, and those companies have had mixed results. We are now, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in market maturity here in this middle bucket about a trend that we are seeing now that it's not the opposite of this, but it's an interesting trend coming up. So in the area of range of approaches, we see vendors that are building capabilities beyond the traditional features. We talked earlier about bifurcation of the space around quality process automation, and then those that enable a embedded quality maturity approach. Similar to that motion, we see bifurcation around openness to user-owned design. So in the small end of the market, in the vendors that serve small to medium-sized businesses, those have typically gone to market as out-of-box locked platforms. But as they have aspired to grow into larger mid-market and then hopefully large enterprise, they have bumped up against a capability ceiling where large enterprise has already defined processes and procedures and governance. Otherwise, they wouldn't have got to be large enterprises. And so the expectation of a large enterprise is that a solution that is brought into their environment is adaptable to their existing business processes, and potentially has the opportunity to improve those business processes, but not really to define the business processes. And so small out-of-box players have been forced to open their platforms to be more flexible and adaptable in order to penetrate that mid to large enterprise tier of the market. Similarly, we see some large enterprise quality management software vendors who aspire to grab market share in the mid-market are developing and deploying more locked out-of-box platforms that really help that mid-market company that has no architecture, no technology architecture, and very few business processes defined. These solutions are intended for those that the locked out-of-box platform players had served previously. And so the messy middle is the battleground and the pressure point for the enterprise quality management software market today. There's another trend that's interesting that's been developing over the last year or so around extension of capabilities across the value chain. We define the value chain as the chain to produce products that customers want. So it's the revenue generation engine for a company that is defined by design, source, make, deliver, and support. So we see vendors that typically had been within the quality space only reach outside of that space to extend their capabilities and work orchestration across companion solutions like product lifecycle management in support of product design and MES software in support of make. And so that's an interesting trend. And then there's a parallel move to complete the last mile down to the frontline teams to affect where quality actually lives, which is on the shop floor in manufacturing. So there's been some movement and some partnerships that have integrated some analytics, connected frontline worker, and EQMS capabilities into a three-legged stool of quality orchestration that is focused on delivery of good products and excellent experiences for the customer. So we talked earlier about market maturity. EQMS is north of 30% in terms of adoption, 34% in 2024. And 30% are piloting solutions. So those together it's 64%. So there's the vast majority of the market is thinking about evaluating and implementing EQMS. And so that, it used to be the case where a chief quality officer had to make a strong business case for an enterprise quality management software. That's really not it's not as much of a sales job anymore. It's expected, similar to the way ERP is viewed as essential for the CFO and others in the C-suite. EQMS is viewed now as the accepted chief quality officer's toolbox. And so business case pressure still exists depending on market conditions and economic conditions in manufacturing, but it's really not as much a sales of why I need an EQMS. So it's not why, it's which solution that I should have. And then finally, the industry focus and persona focus is really what we see as the recipe to win deals, right? So buyers need to see themselves in the solution and be able to see how the solution solves their problems, their lived problems that they experience on a daily basis. And so vendors who understand industry focus understand what the typical problems are that are experienced by the quality persona in that industry. And they're not all the same, depending on industries. Life sciences challenge are significantly different from automotive industry challenges, as a for instance. And so having that knowledge, that inside knowledge, to be able to speak to problems that industries typically experience, and the persona of the chief quality officer, or sometimes the COO persona that is involved in these buying decisions, is an important aspect of winning preference and closing deals. So I'd like to sum up on the next page the next two pages really, with some high-level recommendations. So really, I'm going to talk about business-driven and start with the big picture, really in one context. So we have this transformation framework, and the LNS Industrial Transformation Framework that really we advise companies against shiny object syndrome. So shiny object syndrome is kind of our term for a technology first focused approach. So we always advise companies to be business driven, starting with business objectives, then cascading down to strategic initiatives that support those objectives, then defining an operational architecture. And then only when you have those three figured out are you ready to talk about solutions. And then, of course, organizational change management to bring people along on the journey is essential. It's not last. It's something that's done throughout the entire process. Integrated with overall transformation efforts, that's essentially the power of more. We talk about the power of more as leaders across several years of research in multiple domains. We see leaders doing more focused initiatives in concert with each other, as opposed to individual pilots that are one-off implementations of a particular software. Those still happen, but they are part of a larger plan around a overall transformation effort. Of course, the drive excellence and quality is really that delivered quality ideal that I talked about earlier, that we see as prevalent in quality leaders in my research in 2024, and so a platform that enables that predictive quality prevention, motion, and enables the quality leader to drive an elevation of quality as a competitive advantage is a key thing. Of course, we are all aware that we are experiencing significant workforce challenges across manufacturing. We've lost about 90% of our organizational know-how about how things are made and how to respond to crises and problems, and literally even how to start equipment since 2019. And so focusing on the competent workforce and supporting that competent workforce with analytic insights that are actionable for that individual to solve the problem they are experiencing right now gets to that last mile comment that I talked about earlier. And then integration is a terribly important topic for EQMS. We see EQMSs getting ripped and replaced at a much higher rate than other companion softwares like PLM and MES and analytics and the like. And the primary reason for that is enterprise quality management software tends to be deployed as an island solution. And what I mean by an island solution is it's deployed, and many EQMSs have extensive integration capabilities, but many of those integrations are never implemented. And so a standalone solution that is an island in and of itself is much easier to replace than an integrated solution that is a core element of how work is orchestrated in the company. So next page, please, Jessica. So customers, number one, I've talked a couple of times about the delivered quality ideal, that customer experience quality drives competitive advantage. I'm going to use a framing from good to great. No one became great because of their procedures, right? So great companies don't become great because they have excellently written and executed procedures, or they have a large number of certifications and registrations. And so it's really about how work gets done and focused on delivering value for the customer. And then, of course, on the right-hand side, look for flexibility to extend and scale. That's that value chain idea that we talked about earlier. Prioritize support for a wide range of use cases. That's that power and more that I talked about already. Don't look for, well, you should look for solutions that don't really support how work is orchestrated across the value chain, because there are plenty of solutions out there that do that, and that is an essential piece of how quality gets embedded into the value chain. We have this concept we talk about called costless compliance, which is really AI-enabled compliance orchestration that happens in the flow of work, and it's not a heavy manual lift for a group of people that go around and do audits and all those things. Those audits still happen, but costless compliance, the concept of costless compliance, makes that a much lighter lift, which really frees the quality team as a resource to focus on bigger issues and adding more value in the organization than compliance can deliver. So thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn it over to the MasterControl team. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, James. Appreciate you taking the time with us today to walk through the research, some of what you're seeing in the EQMS space and the reasoning behind where folks landed in the solution selection matrix. So with that, let's go ahead and bring up the matrix itself. This is James's fine work here. We are proud to be prominently featured there in the front runner quadrant. And that's largely attributed to one of the factors that James talked about. MasterControl really bet on a data-first approach a number of years ago, rather than just continuing in a compliance-focused paradigm. And this really started a few years back when we started on the development of our next generation platform and resulting next generation applications. It really emanates from the data layer itself, and then produces forward into the workflow and the event streaming and all the things that go with that. We're also one of few vendors that have embedded industrial grade advanced analytics in our application. And that really puts a lot of power in the hands of our clients as they begin to harness and leverage that data first approach to improve their business outcomes and accelerate their decision-making process. Let's go ahead and hit the next one here. And you can see kind of a simplified diagram of the way that the MasterControl solution set has been architected. You can see the platform that underpins all of our applications. And James had spoken to one of the trends they've seen in the market maturity area is this extension of the quality footprint. And that's a journey that we embarked on a number of years ago here at MasterControl. Obviously been doing the quality management piece. Our product, we call it quality excellence. Have been at this for over 30 years. But about 7-8 years ago, we really started pushing further down to the shop floor with our manufacturing product that we call MX, or Manufacturing Excellence. So it really enhanced our connectivity to the shop floor. You're putting quality where it counts most, right in the hands of the operator. And then most recently, with the addition of our Asset Excellence product, we extended those capabilities into the equipment and asset management area with focus around calibration and preventative maintenance. So really trying to push in a direction of asset performance management. And what the combination of this solution set has allowed us to do is, again, really combine those data sets from man, method, and machine to improve quality outcomes for our clients. Now, with that data set, there are obviously some really interesting things we can do on the AI front. We'll get into that in a little bit here. The analytics piece, Jess is going to talk to us about. I'll talk some more about the advantages that you gain on the validation front, which is particularly important to the life sciences customer base that we serve. And then integrations as well. James kind of left off there with the importance of getting your EQMS integrated with your enterprise ecosystem of applications. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jess to talk a little bit more about QX proper.
Yes, I will start off our deeper dive into our QMS solution to match what James was talking about earlier. And as Matt mentioned, that is quality excellence as our solution. And we have built this to be the most comprehensive and connected EQMS available. So that includes document management for controlling the creation, revision, and distribution of your important documents, and including complete version history, compliant e-signatures, audit-ready traceability, and training management to make sure that the right people have the right skills at the right time, and it's all automatically assigned and tracked based on document or process changes to ensure that nothing gets overlooked. And we also have our quality event management solution, which is very advanced and allows you to handle events like deviations and CAPAs in one integrated process to ensure that quality issues are promptly addressed. We know that, there are timelines that go along with these, and we want to take that to prevent these types of things from happening again and to make iterative improvements over time. And then we also have audit and risk, where we will make sure that you can plan and conduct and manage audits and risk assessments, and it's all unified with the rest of your quality management system so that any findings are addressed and linked and everything is part of one automated platform. And the result is that you have a QMS that not only keeps you compliant, but it enhances your operational efficiency, it minimizes that risk that we're all worried about, and it provides that full visibility into your quality performance. And depending on how you've integrated that and the other solutions on the platform, how that really goes down across your actual manufacturing processes. And then, of course, we'll dive a little bit deeper into, in just a minute, into our AI and validation and insights capabilities as well. So I will keep going to talk to you a little bit about specifically how we address document management. So document management really should be as automated as possible now. And MasterControl has been working on ensuring that automation and compliance in documentation for decades. It's where we got our start. We want to make sure that all of our solutions and everything that we're having to do with documents are streamlined, including change control with automatic archiving, virtual collaboration. So everything is fully traceable. All of the e-signatures are compliant with 21 CFR Part 11. That everything is ready for audit so that you can easily retrieve documents and workflow connections in the moment the auditors ask for them, and that you have a seamless connection to that training so that there are absolutely no missteps to making sure that everybody is trained.
That's a good segue, Jess. Training. So as you mentioned earlier, the training part of MasterControl is natively connected to the document control piece. So the training tasks are automatically fired upon document approval, document revisioning, the things that you see happen in the document control process. When you take that data first approach at the platform level, you can start to do some interesting things on the training front. And one of those is proactive monitoring of training slippage. This, again, very important for regulated clients. If you, for example, know that your ISO notified body is going to be on site to do their annual assessment next week, might behoove you to run the training slippage predictor to see which employees might go overdue on their training while the auditor is on site. Now then you can follow up with those individuals and maybe provide a little extra encouragement to keep them on track there. We also have incorporated AI exam generation that allows you to effortlessly create comprehension exams on changes and new policy and procedure introductions. So I remember when I first came to MasterControl many years ago, out of the medical device industry myself, it was the training capability, surprisingly, that I was most excited about. I know that many of you may be watching today have experienced that moment of sheer panic when an FDA auditor is on site. They've asked you to pull 3 or 4 batch records or device history records, and then subsequently ask you to pull the training records for all of those lovely initials on those production records. That's when the panic sets in. It's really this part of MasterControl that puts you at ease and lets you know when that moment occurs that you will have no problems producing that information. Jess, back to you for quality events.
Okay. And I actually think that I have a training task, so I need to do that today before I show up on any of those training slippage reports. It's not due yet, so I think I'm okay, but still. So yes, quality event management. I'm going to call back a little bit to something that LNS Research had described with our approach and specifically our approach to quality event management. And that is our ability to do what we call mass customization, where the code is standardized, but we still allow a lot of configurability. And this enables quality leaders to easily develop unique processes, including those of quality event management, without modifying any code in the process. It's easy, it's flexible, it's validation friendly. And it really makes people be able to take ownership of those processes in the way that their organization needs to. So our quality event management solution allows you to automate and customize those workflows so that they can grow with your business. And you can iterate on those as you grow and after time. You can quickly get started with best practice templates. We have those available. They're based on top industry experience, and then you can modify them as needed to ensure that compliance and ensure that they follow what your organization needs. And again, this really goes back to what we're calling our data-driven approach that provides that instant visibility into quality status with reporting that is tailored to what matters most for your processes. It's intuitive, it's user-friendly, and it ensures that you can even make it ensure that employees only see the steps that are relevant to them with routing based on data that has been entered previously in the processes, really eliminating any unnecessary clicks, unnecessary confusion, very user-friendly, and lowering any chance of errors. And it can all be validated with the click of a button. And I am going to turn it back over to Matt to talk about that validation.
All right. Thanks, Jess. So MasterControl has been a pioneer in the software validation space for a number of years. We actually have an entire patent portfolio around our tool set and our methodology. It started with what we call VXT, short for Validation Excellence Tool. Really provides the backbone for a risk-based approach to validation. Jess mentioned our most recent innovation that we call Validation on Demand, or VOD. That is literally push-button validation. For many years, the performance qualification, or PQ part of the validation framework has been left largely to the client, the end user. That changes with VOD. We actually take the client's as configured state, we spin up a digital twin of that, and then run an entire battery of automated testing against the client's configuration. We produce a validation artifact for that, as well as a full configuration spec to be incorporated into the client's validation framework. So as a result, our clients typically are able to validate and upgrade, which which happens on a quarterly basis and even a monthly basis in some cases, in a matter of minutes and hours, not days and weeks. So big advancement in the validation space and the tool set that MasterControl clients receive.
And I will now speak a little bit to something that we've alluded to a lot today, which is our data first approach and the way that we approach analytics. And with our solution around that is called MasterControl Insights. And it's really about building strong data and analytics and connecting all of that data together. And that really sets us up to best succeed with AI. So we bring all of that data together from the MasterControl platform, and that enables you to really make faster, smarter, and more confidence decisions. So you have advanced analytics that, LNS has mentioned about us and our visualizations. So you can explore that data interactively. You can look cross-platform. You can create layered visualizations. We have all of this reporting and scheduling so that each role is able to see exactly what they need and when they need to see it, and model different scenarios. We have all kinds of pre-built reports. You can develop custom reports across all of the modules, and that scheduling automates that delivery. So stakeholders can really receive the right information at the right time without asking for it. They don't need to come to you and say, I wonder how, we're trending on CAPAs. You can just schedule a report that does that. And then with the integration of AI and machine learning and natural language processing, Insights is really not only showing you what has happened, but as Matt has mentioned with that training slippage report, it's also looking at predicting future trends, summarizing, events that are happening, and enabling proactive analytics, automation, and optimization so that you can tackle issues before they escalate. I know that James really mentioned this idea of moving into proactive quality, and we really want to be at the forefront, and we're using data to get there.
And we can't close out a webinar without talking more about AI. I think that data segue is great here. One of the things that we've done at MasterControl that we don't necessarily see in the broader landscape is our own proprietary agentic orchestration platform. And what that really allows us to do is ensure that our clients' data always resides within our cloud privacy boundary. We are not outsourcing this. It's not transiting that boundary. So our clients can rest assured of exactly where their data is at all times and who is touching that data. And that approach really kind of paved the way for us to achieve our ISO 42001 certification that is really centered around accountable use of AI. And we feel while this approach obviously is more costly and more time consuming for us, we think it is the right approach for our highly regulated customers. This requires a specialized architecture. Maybe this can roll us into the next slide here. Very secure all the way from the compute on up to the agents. The LLMs we're using, we are in-housing open source LLMs. We are tuning those by use case for our regulated industries that we serve. The RAG methodology that we use, knowledge graphing, all of that is wholly contained within the MasterControl AI architecture. As I mentioned before, very much industry focused. That tuning allows us to achieve results that are less likely to have hallucinations in them and oftentimes more accurate than a general purpose model would be as well. So big investment on the AI front. It makes sense given where we're all headed. That data first foundation is really what underpins all of this. And with that, I think we're ready to sew this one up. Is that right, Jess?
Yes, of course. So we are, absolutely thrilled to have a leader and the top placement in LNS Research's report. We are the number one QMS in the life sciences industry with 30 years of experience building solutions that work for life science organizations across pharma and medical device. And a lot of the things that we've been able to mention today with our innovation in validation and documentation, all the way up to what we're doing now with AI, really leads us to believe that we will continue to be the leader. We, take this very seriously, and we have worked very closely with all of the life sciences organizations that we partner with to make sure that we are delivering really effective quality management solutions. We do have a few questions. So anything we want to kind of say before we start jumping into questions for Matt and myself and James?
I just want to say thank you. James, appreciate you being with us today and the good research that you guys have done. And yeah, I'm ready for some questions.
Okay, I am going to go ahead and kick us off. James, we have one for you. Based on your research, what should quality leaders prioritize, and what are the biggest mistakes that you see companies making?
That's a great question. Thanks, Jess. So what we see in our research on quality is that quality leaders prioritize strategy more than compliance execution. So we talk about big Q, little q, which is the strategic quality, which is aligned to organizational goals and values around sustainability. So supporting zero waste initiatives is an area that quality can really move the needle in an organization by reducing scrap and rework and resource consumption associated with those things. And so quality leaders tend to focus more on quality as a strategic enabler of value creation in their organizations, and really as a counterpoint to that, what we see as the biggest mistakes being made outside that leader group is really this focus on compliance as the business case. So we saw in this quality research that I mentioned that over half of quality business cases that were predicated on compliance or efficiency did not win favor in the C-suite. And so, the motions around big Q that really drive impact of business metrics, like improving throughput, reducing cost of goods sold, improving margin, and right first time kinds of things, are not the typical measures that quality owns and wishes to influence, but leaders do. And so that's really the message, and the mistake is don't focus on compliance as your business case, because there is a healthy skepticism about compliance and efficiency as a business differentiator in the C-suite.
Thank you. That was perfect. Let's see, Matt, I'm going to go ahead and give this one to you. What ongoing support and training does MasterControl provide post-implementation to ensure a successful implementation?
Yeah, great question. And I appreciate that James, when he did his research, didn't just look at the product itself, but also the ability of a vendor to support and maintain those products for their clients on a go-forward basis. MasterControl is a global company. We have support and service offices in all the major regions of the globe. That makes us really well suited to roll out to large multinational enterprises. They can rest assured that they're going to get support folks when they pick up the phone that are local or at least close to local in their time zone. We also have the product localized into many different languages. So again, able to support that global footprint. We do our own implementation services, so we maintain those teams here at MasterControl. In some areas of the globe, we do have an extensive partner network as well. So fully ready to take on any of the post-sale support implementation services of an EQMS project.
Perfect. I will take this next one. Can MasterControl handle both pharma and med dev requirements in one system? The answer is yes, absolutely. This is actually one of our core strengths, is that we are able to do across the life science industry. And we were mentioned by LNS of being very clear in life sciences, and mentioned over 600 pharma and over 300 med dev customers. I think we're actually higher than that now. And our platform, as I mentioned when I was talking about quality event management, offers a lot of configurability. So you can meet whatever specific regulatory requirements you need to meet. We actually have customers. I have had the opportunity to speak with them who are held to requirements for both pharma and medical device at the same organization based on the products that they provide, and they handle all of it within MasterControl. Plus, we have worked in life sciences for over 3 decades, including safely innovating in some of those regulated areas. And so we do have a lot of experience there. So yes, depending on if you're in pharma or med dev or cell and gene, we are able to help you there. And I will let's round it out with one last question for James. This one is fun. What surprised you most in your findings as you did your research?
Yeah, thank you. So I guess what surprised me most as I did this research is the prevailing thought in the market, in the vendor community, of quality as a box, as a silo. And enterprise quality management software typically sits at the enterprise level. That's why it's called enterprise quality management software. And very, very few actually complete that last mile to where what I said earlier, where quality lives in terms of the work to execute the building of the products and services that are provided by the company. So decisions and actions are taken in the quality management system, but there's great difficulty in bridging the gap to the person, maybe that frontline leader or that frontline worker that needs to execute that decision. And so quality systems often are they're compliance engines, but they are less effective because we make decisions, but it's very difficult to implement those decisions. So I was surprised by, there's a group of vendors that see quality as integrated and core capability across the value chain, and then there's another group that see quality as its own silo, and that was, I think, one of the most surprising things as I did this research.
Well, thank you very much. We are so thrilled to have had James join us today to present this research, and we would love to have you download the detailed research, download the guidebook, see everything that they have revealed today, and then take a deeper dive into some of the things that we've talked about today, like their strategic recommendations on how to select an EQMS for your organization. So please go ahead and scan that QR code, and you can download the asset there. And thank you very much for joining us for our webinar. And we would love to have you contact MasterControl to learn more about us and how we can help you with your EQMS needs.